So today we're going to be talking about the second house in astrology, which has to do with our value and what we possess. So I'm going to be going through each of the signs and what it is that each sign or each archetype possesses in life, especially based on your ascendant. But a lot of times we can have planets in other signs, and this can influence us as well. So sometimes we resonate with different signs. Like some people resonate with their sun sign a lot. Some people resonate with other parts of themselves, like maybe their south node. So with that being said, whatever archetype that you are, there's a certain value that you have or something that you possess, and there's also a certain potential that you have. So the second house also has to do with potential. Second house is money, values, things of that nature. And when you think of money, what it is just the potential to do more things. Money is the potential to create something or to purchase something or to exchange. So that is why the second house can show us our potential as well. But anyways, let's go ahead and go through each of the signs and what it is that each sign possesses. So we're going to start with Aries in the second house. So a lot of times this will have to do with Pisces ascendant or planets in Pisces. So Pisces people, what they possess is they always possess some sort of new or fresh perspective. They always possess a new point of view. And Pisces is the sign of creativity, so it's no surprise. And it's the sign of the subconscious. So like the way that they perceive the world is very subconscious or big picture-esque. And it's like spiritual and over our heads, So it's no surprise that what Pisces possesses is Aries, which has to do with sight, and it has to do with points of view, because Aries is associated with our ascendant. So when you talk to a Pisces, they always will have like something fresh that in terms of a point of view that you've never heard before. So for example, there's an astrologer, the divine Venus, she's a Pisces, and the way that she described like the planet symbols was so fresh and unique. Like she basically explained, the sun to her looks like a donut. The moon, obviously looks like the moon. Let's see. What else? She just basically had a whole list of like different ways that the planets look. And that's just an example of how Pisces have just a unique perspective. And it's just, sometimes it's funny and like different because you've never seen it that way. So anyways, next up we have Aries. So Aries have Taurus in the second house. So what they possess is they possess a lot of objectives. Taurus has to do with our objectives, our values, the things that matter to us. And Taurus is the natural sign that's associated with the second house. So generally speaking, Aries possess a lot of potential. Also, they can possess a lot of wealth. Or if you are an Aries and you haven't reached that stage in your life yet, just know that you have the potential to acquire a lot of wealth, because that is what you possess as an Aries in the second house. In another sense, Aries can possess a lot of value. They can have a lot of intrinsic worth. And it's no surprise because they are the sign that's right next to Taurus. So they kind of intertwine. Aries can have Taurian type vibes to themselves. Sometimes they can be stubborn and fixed on one point of view, kind of like Taurus can be stubborn and stuck in their comfort zone. So, next up we have Gemini, and actually we have Taurus, sorry, and Gemini being in the second house. So what Taurus possesses is they possess a lot of ideas, intelligence, and they also may have a lot of expenditures, because Gemini is the sign of exchanges and expenditures. and giving of your value. Taurus is the sign of value, and it's the sign of potential and of worth and of having stuff. So naturally, what they have as a Taurus is they have all sorts of ideas of things that they want to do. They also have a lot of intelligence. So that's a resource that they have because they have Gemini in the second house. This is what astrology is kind of showing us. And this is because Tauruses have a very practical approach to life. They have a realistic point of view of things. And how they operate is that they utilize whatever that they have in order to achieve an objective. So they never feel at any point like they don't have enough to do something or to reach a certain goal, because they just utilize what is available to them and they build up from the ground up. And this is what true wealth is when you don't let your possessions or your status or what you have limit to you in terms of what you can achieve. And when you see the glass half full rather than half empty, now you know, or you start to think of ways to utilize what is in that glass. And that's what Gemini in the second house is about. Tauruses are very intelligent. They have all kinds of ideas. And you just got to think of it this way. Taurus being the sign of money, once you have so for example, if you had a lot of money, obviously now you have all kinds of ideas of what you want to do with it. And also you have a lot of expenditures. So that's how Taurus operates, because they just see themselves as having a certain amount of resources. And now all they think about, or all that is left to do, is think about how to apply them and utilize them to get to the next level, or how they want to enjoy their resources. Next up, we have Geminis. And what they have in the second house is they have Cancer in the second house. So Cancer is the sign of intuition. It's the sign of unfinished projects, things that develop, because Cancer is associated with the mother, and it's the womb. The womb is where the baby develops. And it's a private area, it's unseen. The process of development and of incubation is private, and it's behind the scenes. And when things are birthed or when things are shared with the world, this is when they become like the fifth house, or the sign of Leo, which is about creations, birth, value to others, etc. But when it's in Cancer, it's about the process of development. So what Geminis have is they have a lot of unfinished projects. Also, what they have is they have a lot of photos, memories, recordings, whether that's on journal, on paper, or like on voice notes or recordings. Like Geminis just have a lot of things that are stored, like memory, data, stuff like that. And that's because Cancer rules memory. It rules our feelings. And if you know something about feelings and memories, that the things that we remember are just in direct accordance to the intensity of the emotions we felt at that moment. So the moments you remember is the moments you felt the strongest. So for example, the best moments of your life was moments that you felt very good. And that's what set them apart. And that's what gets stored in your memories. So a tip, if you want to remember things, is associate a strong emotion with them. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. But Gemini is the sign of logic, ideas, and thinking. So it's no surprise that they possess a lot of unfinished projects, a lot of things they started but maybe are still in the process of being completed. A lot of ideas that they recorded, a lot of journals filled with notes, and a lot of creative things as well, because Cancer is about creative projects. So they may have a lot of poetry, music that they are making, art, a lot of interest that they dabble into and that they start but perhaps don't get finished all the way through. So yeah, that is what Gemini possesses, because they have Cancer in the second house. So next up we have Cancers. And the sign that Cancer has in the second house is Leo. So Leo is about value to others. It's about, creations, things that we share with the world. And Cancer is the sign of the creative process. It's the sign of answers. It's the sign of solutions, intuition, because it comes after Gemini. Gemini is about thinking. It's about the mind. It's about intellect. It's about possibilities. And Cancer is when you feel the answer, the correct answer from your thinking. When you make that final connection, it's the answer that you put on your test when you're testing in school. You know, it's the thing that connects within. That's what intuition is. And sometimes that feeling can be right or wrong. That's why sometimes logic can lead us to the wrong answer when our intuition misleads us, or when we think we got the right answer but it was wrong. So, you know, that's what intuition is. It's the connection. It's that feeling. Usually Cancers, they're like an answer to people's problems. They like to solve problems, especially emotional ones and interpersonal problems. So what Cancers possess in the second house is they possess Leo. They possess a lot of value to others. People value them a lot because they can always depend on these people for an answer for the most part. And sometimes this can be the detriment of the Cancer. If they are too caring about too many things and they sacrifice themselves too much, and if they're too empathetic, you know. In another sense, you know, Cancer being associated with the home, the family, and especially the mother and the womb where the baby develops, the creative process and stuff like that. What it shows is that Cancers possess a lot of creations. They possess a lot of value to others that perhaps they haven't shared yet, because they're quite artistic. They're just like the womb, but in a human sense. They're always developing things, always creating things behind the scenes, whether that's art, music, or whether that's in their home and they're, you know, knitting things, or sometimes they could be invested into gardening, just a lot of home type projects. So it's no surprise that they have a lot of things that they can give others as a result, or they have a lot of things they can share that could inspire others, or that people can enjoy and consume as forms of entertainment. And that's what Leo is about. So next up, we have Leo. And what Leo has in the second house is they have Virgo. Virgo is about criticism. Virgo is about observations. It's about our routine. And it's about momentum. So what our routine is it is a form of momentum, because it's the things that we repeat on a constant basis and become our way of life. So generally speaking, Leos, which is the sign of fixed fire, which means a constant state of energy or action, they possess some sort of routine or way of life, and they have like a lot of momentum as an individual. So they're able to accomplish a lot of things because they're always in motion. Now, the other thing they possess is they possess a lot of criticism. Leo will always have something to say, or they'll always have something to point out that could be better. And Leo is the sign that rules children, and it rules romance and dating. But let's start with children. You know, a child always has criticism, you know. They always are picky about what foods they want to eat, which ones they don't. And whenever they observe things, they always have something critical to say, like, why is he doing it like this? Why is he riding his bike like that? Or why do we go to work, Mom? And why do we go to school? Like, and why do you do it like this? Or why can't I have this? See, that's kind of how a child's mindset is. And Leos are like the adults or the human embodiment of the inner child. So in a relationship with a Leo, just expect that they always will have a critique for you. Now, the other thing they have is they have a lot of accomplishments, because Virgo is about tasks and things that we complete. It's about errands. So Leos, being the sign of constant energy, they accomplish a lot of things. Like there's a lot of tasks and things that they just complete. And over time, this piles up and creates like something impressive, like an impressive list of accomplishments. But what they possess is they possess constant momentum, because we can sum up Virgo to being momentum because it's mutable earth. Mutable means moving. Earth is just matter. It's a weight. It's like energy. It's something that's real. It can represent the physical body as well, or it could represent physical objects. So mutable earth carries a lot of momentum. And that's where I get that term from. So hopefully that made sense. Okay, so next up, we have Virgo. And what Virgo has in the second house is they have the sign of Libra. Virgo is the sign of routines. It's the sign of our health, our habits, our work, our job, the things that we do on a daily basis, and the tasks that we accomplish on a daily basis. It's also the sign of service to others. And what Virgos possess is they possess a lot of relationships with people, or they possess a lot of obligations, because Libra is our requirements, and it's the things that people expect of us. It has to do with reciprocity. So there's one of two things. Either a Virgo will have a lot of people, they'll have relationships because people reciprocate all the things that they do for others, or they will possess a lot of obligations because people expect of them a lot of service and a lot of things, because they're always working, and what they value is they value other people. They value people's perspectives and stuff. So they always want to cater to others. Now, with that being said, another meaning of this is that with Libra in the second house, Virgos possess a lot of social intelligence, and they have a understanding of the perspectives of other people, because that's what Libra is. And this is because Virgo is very self-critical, very doubtful, and it's because they want to make sure they're getting all of the details. So a lot of times they sacrifice their own point of view, or they neglect their own point of view in order to take a realistic point of view of the world, and to juggle all of the details and all of the possibilities. And as a result, they begin to accumulate what resembles the perspectives of other people. And so that is what Libra is, and that is what they possess, because Libra is in their second house. Now, next up, we have Libra. I don't know why that took me a longer time. Libra is the sign of social intelligence. It's the sign of reciprocity, obligations, charm. And it's about balance, and it's about alternate perspectives. So Libras are often taking on the perspectives of other people, or what it means is they balance multiple perspectives in their mind. That's why they can be so inactive, and that's why they can be so indecisive when it comes to making decisions and stuff, because it takes them longer, because the way they approach life and the lens they approach life with is that there are many perspectives and possibilities. Libra is the sign of truth. And so they understand more than most that truth is indefinite, meaning truth is in the eye of the beholder. And so being a sign with such heavy intuition and such a focus on finding truth, they can be indecisive, and they can be very contemplative. They can be thinking and balancing out multiple perspectives in their head. And of course, they can be very social, because Libra in the seventh house is about exchanges, interactions. Now, it's an air sign, so it's very mental. And that's what all the perspectives is about as well. And the indecisiveness is about. And what they have in the second house is they have the sign of Scorpio. So what Scorpio is, it's mystery. Scorpio is questions. So to sum it up very quickly, Libras have a lot of questions. That's something that a Libra would never run out of. And this makes them very good conversationalists, actually, and very socially intelligent, because it's like they're really trying to dig and they really try to understand your perspective. And this can make you feel seen and understood. So this is what comes across as very charming. Now, the other thing that Libras possess is they possess a lot of desires. Scorpio is about desires and motivation. And so Libra, which has to do with catering to others, a lot of times what they get their possessions from is what others share with them. And it's from their relationships that they have with others. Scorpio is also about control. So, we can sum it up to something else, which is that Libras have a lot of control, not only over themselves, but over others, believe it or not. They're very persuasive. And Scorpio is the sign of psychology of others. And, not only control, but this is why they have control over others. Because they possess the psychology of others. They understand how others think. And so they're able to unconsciously make you cater to their needs. Now, the other thing is, Libras are very adamant about their relationships and about their requirements, their boundaries, and the things that they need. Because it's about relationships and it's about equal exchange. That's what the sign of Libra is about. And so when they make agreements with you, they ultimately gain a lot of control over you and over others. And this is because of the nature of Libra being obligations, agreements. It also has to do with law, court, justice, etc. So a Libra is the typical I will sue you archetype. I will give you consequences if you don't do this archetype. That's what Libra is. And so it's no surprise that they have Scorpio, the sign of control, the sign of desire, the sign of other people's psychology, other people's resources in their second house of possessions. So next up, we have Scorpio. And Scorpio has Sagittarius in the second house. So Scorpio is the sign of desire. It's the sign of transformative experiences, transformation. It's also about like mystery. It's about death and rebirth. It's about motivation. And a lot of times it can be about lack, like not having enough. So Scorpio does not mean that you will lack a lot of things, but if you have heavy Scorpio and you are living the low vibration of Scorpio, this could be felt as like a sense of inner poverty or like some insatiable appetite that you need to fulfill because you didn't have enough, or you still don't have enough of something or even someone, and this is what can cause Scorpio to be also quite an obsessive sign. But that's just a potential. The high vibration of Scorpio is transformation, understanding of the psychology of others, mystery, and power, as well as motivation, insatiable motivation or insatiable appetite. Anyways, what they possess in their second house is they possess Sagittarius. So what Scorpios possess is they possess a lot of experiences. Because, being the sign of transformation, the sign of mystery, they're always going through the dark side of life. They're always exploring the untapped or the unseen part of life. The part of life a lot of people brush over and don't experience. The things that are under the surface, the things that are unpleasant. A lot of times their lack or their difficult life can lead them to experience a lot of things. So Scorpios will also have a lot of knowledge, because that's what Sagittarius is about. And they have Sagittarius in the second house. So when you talk to a Scorpio, you'll realize quickly this person has been through a lot, or this person knows a lot, or this person has experienced a lot. And, even if the Scorpio has not had a difficult life per se, this is somebody that goes through life on a basis of their motivations and their desires, because that's what Scorpio is about. And the ascendant being in Scorpio means this is how they act. So they act in accordance to desires or motivation. And this leads, obviously, to many experiences. So anyways, that's what Scorpio possesses in their second house. And that's the value that they have that they can share to others. Next up, we have Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is the sign of spontaneous pursuit of desires. It's also the sign of experiences, adventure. It's the sign of knowledge and of convictions. And it's also the sign of acting upon potential or acting upon ideas. Not just thinking, but acting. And sometimes acting before we think, because it's mutable fire. Mutable is about potential and it's about ideas. It's very similar to Gemini. The archetype of mutable to me is the sign of Gemini. That's how I compare it. And then we have fire, which is about action. It's about perspectives too, because fire rules sight. Aries is the first house, and the first house is our lens that we view the world through. And the sign of Gemini, which is similar to mutability, Gemini has to do with our environment and our surroundings and our observations. So with the sign of Sagittarius being mutable fire, this could also be about new or novel surroundings, because fire is novelty and innovation, or like pioneering, like something new. So they could be always experiencing new surroundings, new people, and that's why it has to do with travel and experiences. And what they possess in their second house, they have the sign of Capricorn. So Sagittariuses have a lot of authority. They also may have a lot of status, because as a seeker of truth and as the sign of expansion, they take up a lot of room, right? And this is what gives them that authority. Their energy and their vibe takes up a lot of room. And their pursuit of ideas and their action upon potentials, this allows them to level up in life. And this is why they have Capricorn in the second house, which just indicates that they possess a status of some sort. Sagittarius is also the educational system. It's higher knowledge, college, things like that. So people with Sagittarius ascendant that go through life on a basis of accumulating knowledge or of doing what will bring them to the truth, this gives them a higher status. They acquire degrees, they acquire achievements and accolades. So anyways, this one is pretty straightforward. Capricorn is just about authority. It's about, status. It's about hierarchy, government. I basically covered it all right there. There's actually way more meanings to Capricorn, but for what is relevant in this video, really it's about authority. So that is what Sagittarius is possessed. So next up, we have Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of, like I said, authority. It's about achievements. It's about being recognized and doing things that matter to others. And, people with Capricorn ascendant, this is how they go about life. They go about life through the perspective of what will impact others. So a lot of times they will go out in the world and do what is important. Or they will go out in the world and they will focus mostly on their career throughout their life, and through leveling up. So what they have in the second house is they have the sign of Aquarius. And what Aquarius is about is it's about innovation. It's about new avenues. It's about achievements as well. Goals, higher goals. It's about humanitarian acts as well. And it's about our individuality or our uniqueness. Aquarius is so diverse as a sign. And in a general sense, it also rules logic. So what Capricorn, the sign of success and importance and of impact on others, what they possess is they possess a lot of achievements because they have Aquarius in the second house. They also possess a lot of individuality. This is something you may not have known about Capricorns. But a lot of Capricorns actually have a very unique side to them. They also are highly intelligent because Aquarius is the sign of logic. And this is a talent or a resource that they have because they have the second house in Aquarius. So this one's pretty straightforward. Aquarius is also the sign of entrepreneurship because it's about self-sufficiency. It's also about gains from from work, financial gains. And so Capricorn possesses a lot of streams of income as well. At least in the later part of their lives, they will have many streams. They'll have many businesses and a lot of self-sufficient ways of making money. They'll be an authority over themselves. So Aquarius, which is also traditionally ruled by Saturn in traditional astrology, it's also the sign of rebellion, right? And it's the sign of authority over oneself. That's why it was co-ruled by Saturn along with Capricorn. Capricorn is when we submit to authority or when we fulfill some sort of role or responsibility. And Aquarius is when we are an authority over ourselves. And this is what is sometimes causing rebellion and stuff. But this is also why it rules entrepreneurship and whatnot. So in a general sense, Capricorns possess a lot of authority over themselves, a lot of self-sufficiency. They don't need anybody to do things for them. They don't need anybody to be responsible of them. And they possess the potential to rebel. So Capricorns usually follow the rules and they do what will make other people comfortable and what will impact others. They don't want to rub people the wrong way. They just want everybody to get along and they want to be seen in a positive light. But if you rub a Capricorn the wrong way, they have the potential, which is the second house. They have the potential to rebel against you. And they have potential to break away and go their own way. So don't trap a Capricorn in a box, or else they'll become more like an Aquarius. And that leads us to our next sign, which is Aquarius. So Aquarius is the sign of rebellion. It's the sign of individuality. It's also the sign of breaking free. It's the sign of freedom, going our own way. It's also about friends, groups, communities that we are a part of. It's our network. It rules the internet, which is a platform for freedom, It's a place where we can join different communities, connect with friends. All this stuff is so Aquarius. And you know, it's no surprise Aquarius rules the internet as well. It's also about self-sufficiency and being an authority over oneself. And this is what causes Aquarians to rebel a lot of times, especially if they have confidence in themselves or if they notice their own value, is that they don't need somebody to be telling them what to do. They don't need somebody above them because they feel like they can be in charge of themselves. And so they easily rebel. In fact, without even much resistance, a lot of times they will want to just quit whatever system or society they are part of and like start something new, or at least create a new avenue or like a new way of doing things that allows them to have even more freedom. They just have this insatiable appetite for freedom. They are a fixed air sign. Air is about mutability, which is about change, possibilities, ideas, and detachment. And they're the fixed air sign, so they're constantly detached, constantly mingling and encountering new people or pursuing new ideas. They don't want to be tied down to anything. So unlike Capricorn, they're constantly breaking free, breaking the norms, trying to create something new, make things better. And what they possess in the second house is the sign of Pisces. So what Aquarius possess is they possess a lot of creativity, a lot of imagination, a lot of potential, because Pisces is creative potential. It's also about spirituality. So Aquariuses can possess a lot of spiritual goods, like spiritual items, possessions, things that have a subconscious significance. They can be art collectors, because Pisces is about art, especially like music, harmony. They can be Aquariuses can be disorganized with their possessions, because Pisces is the sign of all possibilities, and it's the sign of chaos, which is ultimately creative potential. When you have chaos, you have an opportunity to organize into something specific or something new. And so, Aquarius has Pisces in their second house. They can be disorganized with their finances, disorganized with their possessions, or like it can be chaotic for them. And, Aquarius has so many different meanings, and it's so diverse. And I could really go on forever talking about the meanings, but I don't want to make this video too long. But the last things I'm going to say, because I have to say this and add this, Aquarius is about streams of income. It's about entrepreneurship. And this relates to self-sufficiency, self-dependence. So a lot of times they'll have their own individual careers. And the sign of Aquarius is also about streams of income and gains in finance. So, it's no surprise that their finances can be in disorder or kind of chaotic. And this is just a result or like a theme of self-employment in general. And when you're looking at a chart in astrology and you want to look at self-employment or entrepreneurship, you want to look towards Aquarius or the 11th house. But anyways, they have Pisces in the second house. So, again, this is about carrying a lot of creative potential and a lot of creativity. Now, you may be wondering, if you are an Aquarius that's not very creative, or that's not like particularly open-minded or like pseudo, about things, and you're more of like a realistic Aquarius, then how does this apply? Well, the sign of Aquarius is about logic and intelligence. So they're always connecting the dots and using logic, right? And this leads to like a creative result. So a lot of times you could be, I'm speaking for the general people as well that's watching. Like a lot of times you could be working with an Aquarius, and the Aquarius will have all these creative like ideas, And sometimes it's not even that they're very creative. It's more so that they're so logical, and the way that they connect variables and logic, they just come up with these crazy ideas, and when you're just working alongside an Aquarius, you experience that. Or when you're talking to Aquarius, sometimes they can have these far-fetched ideas, but it's because they're using logic. It's not because they're actually delusional or crazy. But of course, Aquarius is the sign of the inventor, and what they say is inventors and geniuses always appear crazy, and the reason why is because Aquarius is the water bearer, and this is why they can be so creative, because they bring the realm of creativity to reality using logic. And a lot of times that can be poorly received or misunderstood. Pisces is the sign of being misunderstood, and it is the sign of the waters. So Aquarius, which is between Capricorn and Pisces, they bring Pisces, which is the water and the creativity, to Capricorn, which is reality, the structure, the limits. And, this is why they're inventors, or why Aquarius rules inventors and geniuses. And this is why they can be seen as the mad genius, or the person that's like pseudo. And it's just because logic brings more creativity and common sense brings more potential. So that's Aquarius. Next up, or finally, I should say, we have the sign of Pisces. And Pisces is the sign of creativity, chaos, potential, imagination. And what they have in the second house, we already talked about this in the beginning, but we'll wrap it up once more. They have Aries in the second house. And what Aries is about is, of course, perspectives. And that's what we covered in the beginning. When you have so much imagination, the thing that you always have to offer others is new perspectives. So anyways, I hope this video was interesting, insightful, or entertaining in some way. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel as well if you would like to see more content from me in the future, and share this video with other like-minded souls as yourself and as us on this channel that you think could be interested in this. Now, the last thing, if you enjoyed, consider checking out my Patreon as well. I do a free natal chart inquiry or reading for my Patreon subscribers. And, you can sign up and cancel in the same month. You know what I'm saying? So you do not have to be committed, but that's the way to get a natal chart reading from me. But on my Patreon, mostly what I post is all forms of astrology videos that don't go on YouTube, and, deeper astrology topics, as well as different presentations, and then monthly horoscopes using numerology and astrology. So, if you sign up, that is what you will get access to. And of course, the natal chart reading. And, you can always choose to stick around or just stay for just the natal chart reading as well. It's really up to how you resonate with that content that I post on there and stuff. But other than that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys in another video. Peace.